Hello everyone, this is Utkarsh V 2304 Instagram, and today is 10th of May 2025, and I'm going to give you a certain background about what exactly is happening and a little history about India and the conflicts going on right now. So, as we are speaking right now, we're in the middle of a ongoing war. It's like almost a war. It's an unofficially declared a war, known as Operation Sindoor. And the reason why this has happened and the history behind is there's a lot of complicated things. But for my Western audiences, majorly, I'm going to give you the complete, honest account because there's a lot of fake news and a lot of different accounts that we come across. So this operation basically started with the killing of 26 Indians, one Nepali and one Israeli person on the lines of religion. So as you know, India is a secular country and there's a lot of religions, but it's bordered with one of the terror financing countries known as Pakistan, which has been notorious in all these attempts. And this matter is of Kashmir. So India and Pakistan have been on 4 wars, and this is probably the 5th war. And out of these, at least 4, except for the 1917 war, all were regarding Kashmir. So why exactly is this piece of land a conflict between the two nations, and what exactly happened? So it all started way back, many, you can say, even more than a millennia ago. Kashmir was once a complete water-filled, you can say, lake, a very huge Great Lake, covering 10,000, more than 10,000, you can say, around 100,000 square miles of area on the northern tip, just bordering Himalayas. And as per the legends, and though it's also geographically proven, so this legends really scientifically coincides with the geographical findings that this piece of land was once filled with water, and there was this one supreme sage who's known as Maharshi Kashyap, and you will find a lot of Sanskrit and mentions in Sanatan Dharam about him. And he meditated over there, and he meditated for many years. And one fine day, earthquake happened, and from the western side of Kashmir towards the current time Pakistan, drained all the water that was there in this land, and it's under around many, you can say, millennia ago, somewhere even before the Dwarika, submersion, or the Atlantic submersion happened due to polar ice age melting and everything. So all this water gushed down into the Arabian Sea, and then came this valley. And Maharshi Kashyap had 12 sons, and his sons were given different areas, and it extended up to Bactria and Baltic Sea. So all this area, Kashmir, was not really limited to the Jammu and Kashmir right now. It was from that place to all the way to Hindu Kush, and even beyond to the Central Asia, to the west, to the Eastern Europe. So that was the expanse of Kashmir, and he has 12 sons, and those 12 sons ruled. Now, fast forwarding, there were many great leaders over there, and the religion and culture flourished. As it was, quite in the north, and with the tribal Kashmiri people, eventually it became a Kashmiri civilization over there, and they followed Kashmiri Shaivism. Now, Hinduism, Sanatan Dharam, has various versions. It's a polythesis, and it has a lot of different gods. So the reason is that, first of all, in Sanatan Dharam or Hinduism, we just don't pray to one god. We believe that there are many gods, and obviously they are male and female gods, because that's how this world is created. You can't just say this one god. It's like a unison of two gods, the male god and the female god, and they give birth to the civilization, and that's exactly how it is. So here we have Trika, where there's male Shiva god and the female form of Shiva, usually known as Parvati ji in the Sanatan Dharma, but it's a Trika and his form. I am not the expert person in this religion part, but yeah. So and then there was this Shaivism flourished. Just before Islam came around 1100 AD something. It was the peak of this place. Sanskrit was in use, and then they were now also giving ahead with the Kashmiri language, but majorly it was Sanskrit language over here. And Adi Shankaracharya ji, who actually re-established and re-invoked Sanatana Dharam in India, was the one who went over there, and there were debates that used to happen, So Hinduism is all about, you can say, learning from each other. So there were debates. So in debates, they were like music, they were like tantric, there were prayers, there were beliefs, there were knowledge, there were arts and literature. So it flourished very deeply. Everything was going good, and then we had the Kushyans who flourished further. Kushyans were very much responsible for flourishing the Sanatana Dharam to the north and the west and the east side, and they were like sun worshippers. So they made the sun temple, the sun Konark temple, sun temple, that Martin temple that you have. So one of the greatest leaders over there was Lalitaditya king, who had a very strong foothold over there, and then his descendants were there. Eventually, Sufi, Islamic scholars did come, because the Central Asia, Tajikistan, all those places were now Islamic. So they did try to come and give influence and teach people about Hinduism and about Islam and everything. And they tried to convert people, but not many here, because we had a very strong foothold and cultural system already imbibed. And also the kings were also very noble. So there was this one, one son of a king of Tibet. He was born a religion follower, and he was you can say, not really in good terms with his father. So he was like known as Baghi, which is also known as traitor. It is also known as like a person in exile or something of that sort. So he took an exile, and the Kashmiri king gave him a place to stay. But as there were a lot of attacks and everything that were happening from the Sufi Islamic people over there, so eventually the king died, and there was no next heir to him. So this this seat was vacant, and then this person Baghi, from Tibet, he took the throne. He made his throne over there, and he got this established rule. And eventually he got also influenced with this Islamic scholars, and he went converted to Islam. And that is how the Islamic rule started to come in Kashmir. Eventually his son was the one who was the more brutal ones. He broke a lot of, you can say, Buktashir was his name. He by name is like idol breaker only. So as in Islam, there's like no idol worship, and Hinduism actually has idol worship. That is because Hindus feel that obviously God is everywhere. There is no deny on that. But we as humans have this focus issues. So we also have idol worship where we concentrate So God said that they concentrate all the energy in one idol. For example, if you need wealth, so there is an idol of wealth. If you need good health, there is an idol of health. And you pray to that idol, and you pray to that idol, and you focus your energy over there, and you get the benefits. So as simple as that. It's like we believe, that God is omnipresent, obviously, but for our, whatever we need, because we are also having energy, and we have certain X energy, some sort of different energy that's less, and we need to boost it up. We need more of it. So we pray accordingly. So, it's more like manifesting it as per the requirement of humans. And it's very much scientific that way. So he broke all the idols, and he established and broke the temples, and he started to get conversions done. And a lot of Kashmiri Hindus were driven out. And after him, his grandson came, and I guess Qutbuddin's son, somebody like I just forgot their lineage. And he then said, okay, he wrote to all the Kashmiri Hindus, he got them back, and he also established the faith again. But then after that, further generations of kings came. They were very brutal, they were very totalitarian, and they broke all the idols, and they got forced conversions to all Hindus and everyone. By 90, and it all happened till 1700s. After, you can say, 1400 something, the Mughals finally got the rule over there. But it was in 1700s when Sikh Empire came and they established a strong foothold, and that is when things stabilized, and the Sikh warriors used to protect this land, and Maharaja Ranjit Singh's area was this. And once his during the fights with British, he was decidedly defeated, and he died, and his sons came, they were also killed, and there was like power absence, and then the British took over the whole Sikh Empire. This Kashmir was basically given across by Maharaja Ranjit Singh to the Dogra kingdom, and the Dogras used to rule under the British influence. And so it was majorly a Muslim population area with 30 to 20% of Hindus, 30 to 40 something percent of Hindus, and they were living okay, fine. There was no riots and everything of that sort now after the Sikh Empire, and the Hindus were very influential. They were good. They were like giving, you can say, employment to these Muslim workers and everything. Everything was going okay until 1947 happened, and Jinnah actually got India fragmented into two parts. Now here starts the conflict, the modern conflict that you see. As soon as India got partitioned, Kashmir was, independent state. So it chose to stay independent, and British told that you have your choice if you want to stay with India or Pakistan. The reason of creation of Pakistan was definitely on the religious lines, but one of the reasons more was to facilitate and prohibit, you can say, the advancement of Soviet Union into the South Asia, and let them have the access to the Karachi port, which was a very flourishing and very important port of India. And India had a good alliance with the Soviets because obviously India was anti-British at that time. And so, India was fragmented in a way that, Punjab was divided, Lahore was given to Pakistan, whole entire Sindh was given to Pakistan. And Bangladesh was structured in such a way that Chittagong, which is a Hindu populated area, is given to Bangladesh, and then this Chicken Neck Siliguri corridor, which is barely 22 kilometers thick, is given to India, so that if any India retaliation happens, the West could actually bring their warships and everything, and they can probably attack India in a way that the northeast of India is completely fragmented from the rest of the world, because of Chittagong gone, there is no water access to the northeast, and with the Siliguri corridor, which is only 22 kilometers long, it can be easily crossed by the that East Punjab, East Pakistan, sorry, that. And West Pakistan, which is like Pakistan basically stands for Punjab, Afghans, because they were Afghans people as well. So this Punjab region was basically Hindu region, majorly 40-50%, 60%. And there were some settlers, some converts obviously, and there were some settlers from the Afghanistan known as Afridi, Origns and all the stuff. As you go beyond the Indus River, then there is more of a Orakzai and Afghanis, and the south was like independent kingdom of Balochistan, and there was like Pakistan and Sindh. Sindh fell into Pakistan because it was a Muslim king, but they were population Hindu. But and now they claim it that way. But Kashmir was Hindu king, Muslim population, but that was not. So when this happened, Kashmir lost all access to the salt, food and everything. That was only possible back from Pakistan, because below Kashmir is all rocky mountains, and then there's India. So by technically only, and when this flooding, as I told, the flood waters were reached, so they flew all the way from the western side. So there was like a very good accessible place from Kashmir. So once Kashmir fell, once the country got divided, Kashmir was independent. But Pakistan already had fears that Kashmir will definitely join India because it's a Hindu king. So they gave they gave this no choice over there. They said if we attack Kashmir, then we can probably claim it, and once they claim it, and what would they get is they will get the water resources. Now even British were spying along with this in this more reason, because again the same reason, if North Kashmir, which is Gilgit-Baltistan, which is essentially part of Ladakh and Tibetan Plateau kind of a place, with more rock, with more of these, Himalayas over there. So if that falls to India, again, so it's bordering Tajikistan and Uzbekistan, that area, Tajikistan actually, and Afghanistan during Wakhan corridor. So it can easily get the access to the Soviet Union, and Soviet Union can definitely, have a good ship connectivity and railroad connectivity. So they didn't want that, and they wanted a permanent military presence, so that if any sort of war happens via Pakistan, they can actually put their missiles over there and they can target China or Russia, Soviet back then. So just to stop that, this plan happened. Mountbatten got the order from Churchill and other players, Attlee, that you have to do that. And eventually what happened was that these Pakistanis, they got Afghani tribal Pashtun fighters who were like earlier, you can say, they were like Muslims fighters. British could never conquer this Afghanistan due to its terrain, and it was an independent place, but the part of Afghanis were here, and Pakistan being a Muslim country now, so they had the sympathies for and support from Afghanis. So there was a deal that was brokered that all those Kashmiri Muslims who were migrated to Pakistan, and Hindus from Jhelum and other places who had come to Kashmir. So there was like these Pakistani Muslims also told that there's a lot of gold and a lot of jewels in the mandirs and the places where people are. And so they doctored a plan, and this was very, very disheartening thing. The Mirpur Balidan, the Mirpur genocide happened. What happened was that when Pakistan, this Jinnah sent his forces, Afghani people, he started to send from the western side, and from Muzaffarabad, from right now known as Neelam district, to all the way to the southern Kashmir, which is like Poonch and this Mirpur place, they started to send. So all the immigrants actually came to this place because there was easier access, and from there you wanted to either settle in here. When Kashmir acceded to India, because once Maharaja Hari Singh saw that these Muslims are actually coming, and Pakistani fighters and these Afghani rebels are coming, and they are going to take away Kashmir. They started to fight, but they were like facing a lot of, you can say, problems. So they ultimately brokered a deal with India in which Kashmir becomes a part of India, and they wanted to save it. And now the problem was the terrain from India was very harsh. Only these fighter planes could go. So India at that time obviously was just partitioned and had very few resources, quarter of which, at least a third of which, went to Pakistan, and remaining 2/3 with India, with one of the few planes and artillery and everything. So they got radio signals from Mirpuri people. There was just one radio station which relayed the information, and they used to drop mutiny, these armed, these guns, weapons, and Indian Armed Forces, Sikh regiment people, who actually were on the whole Kashmir border. They were trying to fight all the Pakistanis on the border. But Mirpur was a special place because there were a lot of, you can say, Hindus there. Now, they fought like, you can say, very hard. 20,000 Hindus were there, and they fought very, very, you can say, hard. Unfortunately, they all were killed eventually, and 3,000 women were taken away by Afghanis.